to. He
Hello?
helps handle all the most complex escalated calls. So if that frontline person can't help you, Glenn's going to be the one that will back them up and make sure that they help you. I'm the training specialist in customer care. I make sure these guys give you a 5-star customer service. We always send out service, and if they're not 5 stars, I crack the whip on them.
He does, true.
Glenn wears a hoodie for a reason, so he can hide the battle scars.
Well, it's because it's cold. So, it's cold down here in the basement.
Yeah. All right. So Christine's specific questions about labels and address creation, making an X, and also about adding a spouse. Okay. Yeah, definitely. We'll go over a couple of things, and then we'll specifically answer your question there. Maybe I'll have Glenn kind of talk about those specific questions when we
Sounds good.
Okay. So get himself prepared for how to answer that. So moving right along, hopefully you can see my notes here. If not, let us know, and let us know if I'm going too fast. So thank you for making the decision, or at least considering the decision of switching your work from 8i to X. We've got 4 easy steps here on our game plan for today to make sure you get that switch, at least starting that switch as seamless and as easy as possible. So these 4 steps, I'll just go over it. Number 1, your contacts, they're already there. So you've already done number 1 already, so you don't even have to worry about that. I'm sure if you're in X, from your question there, you've seen your contacts already in there. So you've already done first step. The second step is importing your closed transaction, all your listings and closings in 8i. And it's really easy. It's just one hit of a button, and I'll show you how to do that. Third, we're going to go through your settings in TPX just to make sure you got everything that you need, that you at least use. And you don't have to do all of it. When I go through each one, you can skip along if you don't want to do that. And this webinar is recorded, so you can just come back to it. If you want to come back, okay, yeah, they did talk about the UI settings. I have time now to do that. So, you can watch the recording if you want to go through those settings again. And then lastly, we're going to talk about your templates in 8i, your action plans in 8i. I'll show you how you can move those over from 8i to Top Producer X. It is a little tedious, but hopefully with me guiding you along, you'll kind of master it in no time, right? It's only hard in the beginning because you don't know and what to do. But once you get the hang of it, it'll be a lot quicker and a lot less painful. Did you want to add anything to that game plan there, Glenn?
No, I do know that the refresh your marketing templates and plans is going to answer the question. So that's going to help
Awesome.
that. And contacts, we might be able to address the spouse part there too.
Awesome. Cool. So first one, your contacts are already there. We've taken care of that first, or the hardest part is making sure your contacts are already there. So because your contacts are already there, you can already start using all these awesome features in Top Producer X to make it a little easier on you to follow up on your contacts and make it a little easier to automate some of that work, so you don't have to do as much compared to all the manual work that you probably do still. Knowing these features are only in X, they're not in 8i. For example, automated lead response. If you get leads from your website, your own website, even your free one from your brokerage or your franchise, if you get leads and you buy them from a lead provider like Realtor.com, Zillow, right? You can set it to automatically go into your Top Producer X, and we have something called the automated lead response. That way you can let the AI or the robot send them text messages, send them emails, and it's not just that initial one. You can set it up so they can keep getting it over the next 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, however many days you want to set up the plan for, to automatically try to convince this lead to respond back to you, right? So you don't have to do any work. As soon as you set up the rule for, hey, these Zillow leads gets this Zillow automated lead response plan, and you don't have to do any work. I mean, it'll come up saying, hey, you should probably call this person as part of that lead response plan. But if you're really busy, you don't have to. You can let the robot take care of the follow-up for you. So I know that's going to save a lot of time and effort. And what's really cool about it is as soon as the person responds to any of them, it'll stop. It won't keep trying to send them messages the next day, the next day, and the next day. It's smart enough to realize, okay, this lead finally responded, and now I can, spread my wings and show them how I'm really good, how I'm the best realtor that'll help them sell their place in Duluth, Minnesota. So that one is a game changer, that automated lead response. The next is email tracking, texting, contact and calendar sync, all that fun stuff. So I'll go through those in our settings page a little bit later, and of course, so much more. So the next step in switching from 8i to X is importing your closings. And it's really just one hit of a button. So let me just actually show you how to do that. And by the way, if you don't know how to get into your Top Producer X, there's a couple ways you can do that. You can go to the website crm.topproducer.com, and it'll just take you to your contacts. All your contacts are already there. You can click on the All tab to see all of them. If you are in 8i, the quickest way to get into TPX or Top Producer X is that TPX button right at the top of your 8i. So you just click on that, it'll take you there. And you can toggle back and forth, right? Some people, we're not trying to convince you not to use 8i anymore. If you want to keep using 8i, you're totally welcome to do that. There's a lot of really cool features in there, and some features that are unfortunately not in Top Producer X, like printing labels, right? So kind of a little hint there on Glenn's answer.
You actually just answered it right there, I think, because she was asking how to do it in X.
Exactly. So we'll kind of discuss that a little bit more and what like the workarounds are and all that stuff, right? But yeah, so we do not want you, if you like 8i, love it. We like 8i too. I like 8i too. Keep using 8i, but don't sell yourself short. Top Producer X has a lot of exclusive features that you're not going to get in 8i. So we'll get into those. If you want to go back to 8i, like I said, all you have to do is click on your picture on the top right corner, and then you just choose the option that says go to TP8i. It'll take you back to your 8i. Okay, so hopefully that was easy enough to follow. But yeah, to import all your listings and closings, on the left-hand side is your main menu. Instead of at the top of your 8i, in X, it's going to be on the left-hand side, your main menu. And then you just click on the Transactions tab and hit that little button on the top right corner that says Import 8i Closings. And then it'll give you a little warning saying, hey, we're only going to import all your finished transactions, all your closed ones, right? There's a reason for that. We're not going to send all your active or your pending listings and closings from 8i in Top Producer X. The reason for that is because we know that you're likely just learning X. We don't want to interrupt your work while you're trying to make sure that you get paid and get that commission and close that deal, right? You already know how to use your 8i. It's an active pending. Just keep working on it in 8i for that transaction. Once it's closed, then you can hit that button again and click on import, and that's it. It'll send it over to your Top Producer X.
And to follow up on that, you can hit that button more than once. It's not going to duplicate any of your transactions. So finish the ones you have in 8i and do it. Or if you,
Okay.
No problem, Christine, but if you do have to update and finish ones, you can import them all now and then import more as you go.
Okay, so Christine has to go. That's no problem. Stick for 8i. Okay, I'll accept that, but do us a favor and try it next time. Okay.
She's already jumped up, but we do have the Debbie Forrester team here now with us as well. So we do still have somebody who's interested. So hopefully this helps.
Hey, the Debbie Forrester team. You guys are our only attendee right now. So if you want to let us know what your name is, maybe we can, and maybe what you're looking to get out of this webinar, maybe we can tailor it a little bit to you. But otherwise, I'm just going to continue on with the presentation. Basically, we want to make sure that that seamless switch to 8i to X happens for you. So the second part, as I mentioned, is moving your transactions over from 8i to X. So you just hit that button and it'll bring it all over into your Top Producer X. Now, the third step is going through the settings. So if you haven't done that already, it's really easy. All you have to do is on the bottom left corner, you just click on settings. And then you'll see all the different tabs that's part of that settings. We're basically just going to go from top to bottom, from my information all the way to UI settings. And if you guys have specific questions while I'm going through these settings, let us know, and then we can kind of pause and clarify things for you. And Glenn's gonna share some useful links in case you want to do it later. Let's say you don't, I don't want to do let's say team management. I want to do that later, right? Maybe Glenn can show you a link on how to do that, so you can take a break from listening to me on that one. But going to the first tab here, my information. So right off the bat, we want to make sure that like your name is in there, your name is in there, your picture's in there, your logo's in there, your address is in there, your email's in there, etc. Right? You need all this information in there because sometimes that stuff will come up when we're using merge codes. So if you're using 8i, you're familiar with that term, merge codes, right? So the more stuff you put into your system, the easier it is for those merge codes to pick it up. So you don't have to manually type in your name or your phone number every time you need to put it into your template or whatever it is that you're needing to do. So yeah, you just fill that out, pretty easy. And then when you're done, you just hit save at the bottom. Next is calendar sync. So actually, I'm going to skip calendar sync. I want to make sure that while I still have your 100% attention, I'm going to go over to something a little bit more important. So as this slide says, we're going to go through the MLS and email integration first, and then we'll go through the rest. Okay. So MLS credentials, super important that is connected. You can add in as many MLS credentials as you want, as long as you have a membership to that MLS. So we don't limit you to however many MLS you want to connect to your top producer. All you have to do is click on add MLS credentials, find your board. So like me and Glenn are in the Vancouver area here in British Columbia, Canada. So if I type in Vancouver, our MLS board shows up. So you just click on that, and then you just plug in whatever it's asking you for it. It could just ask you for your MLS ID, MLS username. Sometimes it'll ask for like your password for your MLS, or sometimes it could just be another different, like a RETS username and password, like a totally different username and password. If you have trouble validating it and it's saying like, oh, it's not the right one, try putting it all in caps. We've seen some MLS boards authorized in that way. Even though, let's say you go on your MLS website and you always put in all in lower, sometimes you connect it to a third-party program like Top Producer, you have to put it in a different way. Instead of all lower, you might have to put it in all caps or all lower, right? So you want to try all these different types of combinations to see if that'll work. But if it's still not working, we don't want you to get frustrated. So all you have to do is just hit that chat button on the bottom right corner. And one of us here in customer care will be happy to check on that MLS board to make sure you can connect to it, right? Sometimes that MLS board is going under maintenance or something. So we'll at least be able to give you information about that MLS and kind of get you guys going through that MLS credentials page. So yeah, if you guys are following along, go ahead and just click on add MLS credentials, select your board, and then plug that in. Should be really quick for you to do that. And if you have any issues with it, just post in our chat, and then Glenn will check it out for you. Make sure you mention your MLS board.
Yeah.
And the other important setting that I want to make sure you guys go through is the email integration. So if you go on the left side, look for the one that says email integration. It's like the 5th one down from the top. And then you just plug in your email. So like I've already done it for myself. Actually, mine looks like it needs reauthorization. So let's go ahead and do that, right? I'm gonna see how this works live with you guys. So I don't have anything in there. I'm gonna plug it in. I'm gonna hit authorize.
Yeah, and you might want to let the chat agent know that this is you on the webinar, because they're trying to help you out. See how quickly our chat team is there to help you.
I know, right? Exactly. Anyways, we'll come back to that chat, but when you're setting up the email integration and you put in your email address, depending on who your email provider is, for that email integration, it's going to ask you for permission to give top producer access to your information, right? So we can see all those emails. So I just happen to have a Gmail account. So now it's asking me to log into my Gmail account. So I just plug that in. Let's see if I remember my password.
Doubtful. You always forget it.
I always forget. I think I have it saved. So
Okay.
there we go. See, if you don't have a password manager, this is kind of an aside. Make sure you have one, because like I forget my passwords all the time. So I have the robot tell me what to do. So I use this program called Bitwarden. It's free. It's open source. So it's, you know, you guys want to try that out. Bitwarden.
Disclaimer,
I'm not endorsed
we're
by
not affiliated with Bitwarden.
I'm not affiliated.
in any
It's not
way.
endorsement. I
We're
just
not
like
endorsing or sponsoring this video.
But yeah, I just plug it in and then just hit next. Anyways, a little technical tip and trick there. Okay, I'm gonna close that chat. All right, so once I plug it in, it's gonna ask me for permissions, and if it was your first, if this is my second run through that setting, so it didn't ask me it for this time. So you might get a little bit different experience the first time you connect your email account. All it is, it's gonna say, let's say your Gmail account is connecting. It's gonna say, do you want top producer access to your email, your contacts, blah, 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 blah. Make sure you check all the boxes on that permission page. Because if you don't, it's not going to work properly. So once you read that permission page properly and check all the boxes, then you can hit continue. And then this is where the next screen will show. If it doesn't say running right away, that's okay. That's because you probably have a lot of emails that it has to do an initial sync with. So sometimes it could take a few minutes, sometimes it can take an hour or so. We have seen on rare occasions where it could take like a day or two, right? So if it says needs reauthorization, don't worry. It'll just take a little bit. If it's like, let's say a full weekend or like 3 days and it's still not working, that's when you can just quickly hit the chat button and just ask, hey, what's going on with my email integration? It still says needs reauthorization, and we can work with you on that one. So like 99.9% of the time we can fix it, right? So, and if not, it'll be Glenn's problem. No, just kidding.
Well, one thing that can help you avoid having issues is if you do miss one of your checkboxes when you're setting it up, you are going to see across the top a 404 error. So if you see 404 error, just click the back button on your browser, and then you'll be able to make sure you can check off those checkboxes, and then you'll get to this happy screen that says everything's running. At least in theory, it should come up and say it's running. If it doesn't, as Dan said, give it a few minutes. If over 24 hours, reach out to us and we'll fix it for you.
Yeah. So yeah, so make sure if you have to go or you forget everything else, make sure you write down, set up your MLS credentials and set up your email integration. That's kind of like the most important settings on this section.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's get on to all the other fun stuff on the settings page. So I want to talk to you guys about your phone, your smartphone, right? Your phone, you use that all the time, and you use it to call your clients, call your leads, and you use it all the time to set up your appointments and need to know where to go, right? So we have a few features called calendar sync and contact sync that'll make sure that your top producer is connected to your phone. So anytime you add an appointment, you change an appointment, you cancel an appointment, you don't have to worry about remembering how to do it in Top Producer X. Just do it from your iPhone or your Samsung or your Pixel, your Android phone, whatever you use. And as long as it's connected using the calendar sync, it'll update that appointment on Top Producer and vice versa. So if you have an assistant that's helping you, work on your appointments, they can just log into your account in Top Producer and edit that appointment or create a new one for you, right? Now for the contact sync, same thing. So if you add a contact either from Top Producer or your phone, it'll sync it both ways, right? If you misspelled their name and change it on one side, it'll change it on the other side. before we had these contact sync, I've always had to help customers get rid of duplicates. Like sometimes it's like 2, 3, 4, 10 duplicates for each person. And that wasn't very fun for both of us, right? So with the contact sync, it's reduced that kind of call to support so much. It used to take up like half of my day just dealing with duplicate issues. Now it's not that much anymore. Right, Glenn?
Yes, that is a much better and much improvement. That's a good way to say it, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, all you have to do is very similar to how we did that email integration setting. So you just plug in your email where your phone is connected to, right? Like your contacts on your phone. If you have an iPhone, it's probably connected to an iCloud account. If you have an Android phone, it's probably connected to a Gmail account, right? So all you have to do is just plug it in, whatever email address is connected to your phone, and then you just hit authorize. And depending on who you're with, it's going to ask you to give it permission. So it might not show it to me because I might have done it already for this account. Let's see what happens. Okay, perfect. It didn't happen. So this is what I wanted to show you earlier. So anytime you set up the email integration, the contact sync, or the calendar sync, your Apple account or your Google account or your Microsoft account will ask you to grant access to Top Producer. So if you don't see any checkboxes, that's okay. That means it's already all checked. But sometimes it does have an extra checkbox. So make sure you read it and look for any checkboxes, check them off. And then once everything is checked, or if there's no check marks, that's okay. Then you can just hit continue. So once you give it permission, it'll take you back to your Top Producer. And that's pretty much it for the setting of that one, right? So with the calendar sync, it's going to ask you, hey, if you have more than one calendar, let us know which calendar you want to sync with. I just happen to have one, so it's not going to give me an option. It's just going to show me like my email address. But if you, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, this will make sense. So if you have like a Google account and you have a work calendar, a personal calendar, your coworkers' calendar that they're sharing, right? It'll show you a drop down. And you just select which calendar in that account you want to sync with. Right? If you don't have multiple calendars on your account, it's not going to give you a drop down. It's just going to ask you to hit that button that says start sync. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just going to quickly hit that button and give it a couple of seconds here. And that's it. So now anytime I set up an appointment, either on my phone or Top Producer, it's going to sync both ways. All right, now sometimes you don't have contacts on your phone, right? Sometimes the contacts, maybe you bought it from like you got it from public records or something like that, right? You have it in a CSV file. You can import those contacts from your spreadsheet. So all you have to do is hit that button on the left where it says import contacts. And it's basically a couple of steps. Step one is just to hit that button and find that CSV file on your computer. So I think I have one that I can look for. Yeah, so find that file on your computer. Once you find that file, step two, all you're doing is just making sure you're matching the column in your spreadsheet with the column that Top Producer uses. So in my spreadsheet, I had a column called given name, right? And that's the first names of those contacts. So, your spreadsheet might be using a different label for first names, for example, given name. In Top Producer, it might not be necessarily called given name. On ours, it says first name, right? So all you're having to do is matching your column headers with what we use. So given name is first names. Surname is last name, right? So you're just doing a matching game here. It's really easy. And if you don't know like what surname means, we've given you a couple of examples from your spreadsheet. So you can say, okay, these look like last names, right? So surname means last names because based on these examples from my spreadsheet, these are all last names. These are not like phone numbers, right? So I'm going to match it with the last name field. So you just go through, if you don't want to import something, like let's say I don't need their telephone numbers, right? I don't like calling people, which would be weird if you're a realtor, right? But let's say you don't need their phone numbers, right? You're just going to email them. you can set it to not map. So a better example would be like, let's say in your other CRM, maybe you're importing a contacts list from another CRM. And that CRM tracks like, their favorite restaurant or whatever, right? Maybe you don't want or you don't need that, right? So you can just click on the drop down, select not mapped, and that's it. It's going to ignore that whole column from your spreadsheet and only import the ones that you match. Now on the same token, on the other side, the flip side of it is, let's say you do want to import a column, but we don't have a matching column for it. So if you do want to import their favorite restaurant, for example, right? And we don't have a favorite restaurant in our list, right? And you really want it in your top producer. Well, not a problem. All you have to do is from this list, make sure you write this down. All you have to do is select add to contact notes, and that'll at least put it into that each person's notes, their favorite restaurant that you really wanted to import. So hopefully that example kind of makes sense for everybody here. Anything to add on the import?
Yes, actually I do. One of the things, and having this screen up is perfect. Be very precise in how you set your contacts. If you were to all of a sudden see given name and it just said name or something, and without, just clicking, and I'm guilty of this, I will say I've clicked on that just to look at what the different mapping options are. And I've all of a sudden, I've mapped given name to birthday. And then all of a sudden, nobody in the contacts that I've uploaded have a first name because it'll map to the wrong field.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things where take a little extra time on this just to make sure everything maps up properly. Otherwise, it's going to cause you nothing but a headache in the future. But again, if you do have a problem, our chat team is here to help you and we can make sure everything gets fixed up.
Yeah, we don't want you to feel nervous about importing contacts that you're going to make a mistake. So if you're not 100% confident, please reach out to us. We love helping. So just hit that chat button. We'll walk you through the whole thing. We even, I think, yeah, Glenn shared, or at least I don't see it right away, but Glenn's going to share those links for you.
I've already shared. Oh, well, you know what? It would help if I shared to everybody and not just to panelists. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so that is importing contacts. So hopefully that is easy enough to do. There's a couple of other things that I want to kind of mention quickly in importing contacts at the very top, like the contact status. So if these are all new leads, make sure you just select the right one. If you don't know which one it is, the default one is feature. Feature just means like it's like a catch-all. So it's like all your cold leads, right? So you eventually want to go through and sift through all your contacts once they're in there and change them to the correct statuses, right? You might have some past clients in there. So once you've imported them all in, then you can change whoever you need to change to the correct status. But for the majority of your spreadsheet, make a decision at least to import them in, which one applies to the most in your contacts. So are they all new, or most of them are all new, or are they all mostly past clients? Or maybe you have a vendor list, like if you have a list of all your inspectors, lawyers, mortgage lenders, plumbers, right? Maybe you want to import that list into your top producer. You can set it to non-client, right? So that's what the contact status is for when you're importing your contacts. And then for contact types, if you want to put them into buckets right away, let's say these are all your VIPs, right? Like your past clients, and they're all your, your sphere of influence, right? People that, will help you get referrals all the time. So you can put them into your contact types or your groups right away, right from the import. So you don't have to wait until they're in there. Do it while you're doing the import, and you can put them in as many as you want, right? So, sphere of influence, maybe there's sports fans, right? So if it doesn't exist, you can add it in, right? So you can have as many as you want. Maybe they're, I don't know, churchgoers, right? So you can have as many as you want in there, so that the more you categorize people, the easier it is to know what type of marketing content you should use and for the right audience, right? Next up is lead providers, or actually before we do that, let's go to email signatures. So once you set up the email integration, and what that will do is it'll allow you to send emails, obviously from Top Producer X, it'll allow you to send emails, but it'll also allow you to see all the received emails as well. So each person, it'll keep a full email history for that person based on your email account that you connected with. So you don't have to go through your inbox on your phone and your Gmail or whatever, your iCloud, to look for all the emails that you got from Glenn, or all the emails that you got from Daniel, right? All you have to do is go to your Top Producer X, pull up that contact record, click on their email history, and you'll see all of them just for that person. You don't have to go through your entire inbox. And the other thing that the email integration will do for you is it will also track if they've opened it or not. So 8i unfortunately doesn't track open rates. Top Producer X does. So that's one thing I would set up the email integration for. Plus, it's more reliable, and unfortunately nowadays it's more like anti-spam gets more strict and strict. So the way the emails are sent through Top Producer X is different from 8i, where 8i sends it all from a central server. So you get your reputation is shared with all the other 8i users, and you know those other realtors, right? Some of them can be a little spammy, right? Unfortunately, with 8i, your reputation is shared with those people. So if you send out a mass email from 8i, sometimes it ends up in the junk mail or spam folder, or gets blocked completely. Obviously, we do our best to make sure that doesn't happen, and we have a lot of mitigation solutions to when it does go to spam. We have a lot of mitigation tools to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But on occasion, it can happen, right? So with Top Producer X, it's built completely different when it comes to sending emails. It's only going to send it through your own email account that you connect. So you are not affected by other Top Producer users. It's going to send it through your iCloud account or your Gmail account. And you can even see those sent items from your phone. It's not just going to be in your Top Producer. So if, let's say, you're on your laptop in the office, you send out an email from Top Producer, and then you go out in the field, you can actually go to your phone's send items, and you'll see that same email that you sent from Top Producer in there. So you're not missing a beat. Once you've set up the email integration, obviously you want to set up your email signature. So all you have to do is click on that tab that says email signature, click on the little pencil icon, and then you just put in your email signature, right? So you can put in your picture if you want, your logo if you want, you can create links. So all these buttons here will help. And this is where you would find the merge code button is. So in 8i, it says, like, whenever you're editing a template, it says insert merge code, right, at the bottom. In Top Producer X, we tweaked it a little bit. It's just a button that that looks like brackets, like squiggly brackets. And if you hover over it, it'll say template, right? So if you just click on that, these are all the merge codes available to you whatever you're doing, right? So if I want to put in automatically my cell phone number, I can just plug that in, it'll plug it in for me, right? So whatever it may be. And then when you're done, you just hit save. So pretty simple stuff when it comes to putting in your email signature. Gus, is this being recorded and will I receive a copy? Yes, Gus, it is being recorded. What happens is tomorrow we send out an automatic email follow-up, and it will include a link to our YouTube channel. So you just have to select it from our list of videos on YouTube. It's probably going to be the first one, right? If you open that email for tomorrow, it's going to be like the top of the list, and you can just watch that. You can watch all the other webinars we have too on that YouTube channel too. So yeah, definitely is being recorded. So if you have to go, Gus, that's totally fine. That's why we structured it the way we structured it. If you have to leave, that's fine. You can come back to the recording. All right, moving on. Lead providers. So this is, like I mentioned earlier, you can send your leads into Top Producer automatically, so that you don't have to only send leads that you have to pay for. If you get free leads from your website, right, or somehow, and your your leads go into your email, and then that email has like their name, their phone number, blah, 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 blah. Most of the time it will connect with your top producer. If not, you just let us know. But what happens is once you send that lead notification to this special email address that you're seeing on the screen, it will automatically forward a copy or forward that email notification that you would usually get to this special one, and we'll read the email and plug in all the information of that lead and create a contact in your top producer automatically for you. So if you are getting leads, for example, from Zillow or Realtor.com, all you have to do is copy this email that you see here. So mine says Daniel.Salcedo@myleads.io. Copy that email, log into your lead provider website. So if it's Zillow, log into your Zillow. If it's Realtor.com, log into your Realtor.com. This part is where it can vary because it depends on each lead provider. You need to go to your notification settings, your email notification settings, specifically for your new leads whenever you get a new lead. So once you go into those new lead email notification settings, replace where you see your email address, replace it and put in this one, and then hit save. Or if you still want to get a notification from that lead provider to your regular email address, most of them will allow you to include 2 email addresses for notification. So be on the lookout for that if you want to put both your regular email and this email address. The benefit, obviously, for putting this in is to make sure that your leads are into your top producer automatically, so you don't have to do any manual work just to add them in, right? If you buy leads, for example, sometimes you'll get hundreds of leads every day, right? If you're a larger brokerage or you're very successful and you can afford like a monthly lead package from Realtor.com for like tens and thousands of dollars, right? More power to you, right? We want to make sure we help you out and make sure you put those leads in there automatically. This is how you can do it. You just need to plug in that email address. The next tab is for our wonderful Market Snapshot customers. So Market Snapshot is a paid add-on. If you've been with us for a long time, you already know what Market Snapshot is, right? It used to be its own website, and it used to be called a different name. It used to be called Top Marketer, for those of you that use Top Producer on floppy disk or whatever, right? We had Market Snapshot and it was called Top Marketer, right? So Top Market Snapshot, now you don't have to go to a different website. It's all under one roof inside your Top Producer X. And if you need to toggle any of its settings, all you have to do is go to your settings page, click on Market Snapshot, and these are all your settings for it. The default should be pretty good for like 99% of people. So there actually isn't anything to set up. But let's say you're a more advanced Market Snapshot user and you deal with a lot of buyers, and for your audience, your buyers, they don't want to see any sold listings, right? You don't want to break their heart and show them all the listings that they missed out on, right? So you can toggle that off, for example, right? But if you don't know what you're doing yet, right, and you're not very confident with using your Market Snapshot, just leave it the way it is. The default settings are already pretty good. Anything to add on this page?
Yes, sir. Down at the very bottom, you'll notice there's a spot there that says listing alert settings. Now, this is a slightly different part. Think of the Market Snapshot as having the snapshot, as we call it. It takes a snapshot of what's going on in your MLS that day and sends it out to your clients. Now, the listing alerts are one of those great things that if you've got a client that's very active and really ready to get going, wants to buy the house, you set up listing alerts that can go out to them and give them a summary every day of what's changed, what's been just listed, just had a price change, or even just sold. Or as Dan mentioned, don't send the just sold because that could break somebody's heart. But let's say you've got somebody who's super passionate, really wants that house, wants to know what's happening the minute it happens. You'll notice we have an option there to send in real time, and it says sometimes multiple times a day. Use this sparingly. If you have a very hot market, which we all know the last year and a half has really been hot, people would probably get about 100 to 200, maybe more emails, and they'd be getting basically spammed by these alerts. If somebody's really that into it and really that pushing to get that house, go ahead and use that. For the most part, a once a day summary is probably going to be the way to go. Wouldn't you agree, Dan?
Exactly. So for pretty much everybody, leave it the way it is. A summary once a day. You don't want to spam them. I can see real time being used more if you're in that rural town, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's busy for you, but it's not like crazy, right? So, you know, it's not like they're gonna get thousands of email alerts every time a price changes or every time something just sells or something just listed, right? So that, you know, a smaller market, it would make sense to do that, give them that. But if you're in the middle of a metropolitan city, right, like Miami or, you know, New York or whatever, once a day is plenty. All right. So next, skipping over to the next tab called team management. So this is for those of you that have a team that purchase multiple licenses. So each person in your team can log in and set up their own sync, you know, set up their own appointments, assign leads to each other, assign tasks to each other, set up their own action plans, blah, 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 blah. This is where that comes into play. If you're the main user, the primary user, this is where you can go into and log in and create their usernames for them. This is where you can change their username if they don't like the one that they got, right? More importantly, this is where you can set their permissions, what they can and cannot do in your database that you own, that you share with them. So there's 3 permissions at the bottom. Access data. This will allow them to see other people's contacts that are not assigned to them, other people's transactions that are not assigned to them. So if you want to keep the contacts segregated for each person, maybe turn that off, right? If you don't care, or you have a good team or you manage, handling contacts and seeing visibility in a different way, you can leave that on. So it's up to you how you want to do that. Delete or merge data. This one, at least to start with, I usually recommend people to turning it off because people make mistakes, right? Despite their best intention, they might accidentally delete your entire database, right?
Go for the worst case scenario. Nice.
Right. I mean, we can try to recover them, but let's say we can't recover them. You're out of luck, right? You don't want to be in that position where you're worried if the tech people can recover your data, right? So as a preventative measure, thank you, I lost that word. Preventative measure, just turn that off, right? If someone needs to delete something, they can just let you know, and you can add it to your task to do it later and just do it for them, right? At least there's only one person that you can blame if someone gets deleted, right? But if you have an assistant, maybe you trust them, then you can turn that on for them, right? So
one thing to keep in mind with this is we've just made a recent change because the fact that Top Producer does a very secure delete. Before, the message wasn't as clear on deletion, so that's where a lot of the hiccups happened. So what we've done now is when you do delete something in Top Producer X, you're going to have a message that comes up and says, do you really want to do this? If so, type delete. This is going to make people second guess whether or not they actually need to delete it. This is going to save your database, and you won't have that extreme worst case scenario that Dan jumped directly to of losing your whole database. And you'll notice they have to type the whole word. If he just types it, it's not clickable. So we've done everything to make this as safe as possible to avoid you losing those important contacts, because they are important. They're your contacts.
Exactly.
Right, Dan?
Exactly. So yeah, so that's team management. Make sure you check that out if you have multiple people on your account. Set those permissions. And then lastly, the export data. Do you want them to have a copy of your contacts out of there, right? Do you want to give them that option, right? So if you're worried about, that disgruntled former employee, that's the, for on the day that you're firing them, make sure you turn that off just in case, right? Like, before you go into that meeting with them, you never know, right? So I know going through the extreme scenarios first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If let's say you want to give access to your team members that you trust, and they just need to send it to a printing company or whatever, and they need it in a spreadsheet format, that's what that's for. If you don't need them to do any of that stuff, just turn it off. So that way they can't take it away from your top producer. I gotta make it like exciting, right? So I go through the extreme scenarios and make sure everyone's on their toes.
Yeah, but exciting is one thing. Worst case scenario, why do you think I'm bald, dude?
Right. Okay, the next tab is, and we're almost done. I know we got 10 minutes left here. So thank you guys for hanging in there, the Debbie Forrester team. And then the next tab is the texting feature. So as you guys probably know, nowadays email can be saturated a little bit. People ignore emails, or it gets blocked, or it goes into spam, blah 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 blah. With texting, it's not used as much, so the likelihood of them seeing that text is a lot higher, and the likelihood, because they can see that text, is a lot higher for them to respond to it. So with Top Producer AI, unfortunately, this is one of those popular suggestions that we got with AI to be able to text. And we are now able to do it inside Top Producer X, not in AI. So yeah, all you have to do is go and switch over from your AI to X and start texting your contacts. You just open the contact, go to the texting tab, and send them a text straight from there. And to be able to do that, you got to just set it up here. So you put in your cell phone number. It'll send you a confirmation text saying, hey, please reply to this text with the word confirm. Once it's confirmed, you'll see something like this where it says it's confirmed, you're successfully set up for texting, and we assign you a randomly generated phone number. We call it a texting number. That uses your area code, or at least a local area code in your area. So yeah, once you have it set up, we assign you that number. What that means, I know this is on some of your minds. What that means is when you send out an email, a text from your top producer, it's not going to show your regular cell number. It's going to show this number. Don't go anywhere yet. I know I'm scaring some people yet with that. The best thing you can do to make sure that they don't think you're a spammer or ignore that text is send them a message, at least your first message or first couple of messages through Top Producer. Tell them that it's you, and this number is just one of your many professional business numbers that you use to make sure that you're always on track with their messages, right? So kind of sell it in a way that, hey, this is another way you can reach me at. So all they have to do is save that number under your name that's already in their phone, right? It's just another number that'll mold it or, disappear into your name on their contacts list on your phone. And they don't really care what your number is. They just need to know that it's you, right? So all they see after they save that number in your name, the next time you send them a text, it's gonna say, hey, Debbie Forrester's texting me, right? It's not this random weird number that I don't know. So I've said that to pretty much all the realtors that have complained about it not showing their real cell phone number, and I haven't had one person come back saying your suggestion didn't work. They still whatever, right? It's always worked. So try it out. All you have to do is tell them, hey, save this under my name, and that's it. Nobody cares what the number is. They just need to know it's you.
The advantage is you're also going to get a notification of that text. And if somebody does try to call that phone number, it will route to your regular number.
Exactly.
So that's another way that you can get them to verify that it's really you. Just say, hey, give me a call. Once they do, they're going to actually know they're talking to you, and they'll just be able to go, oh yeah, okay, so this is just another business number. Cool.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't believe me? Give me a call right now on this number. I'll answer it.
So Dan, we did have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Gus.
Yeah.
Gus, I was just about to do that. Can you go over to our marketing for a second? Because this is one that's very important to go over.
Yeah, so I just have one more settings tab, and then we're going to talk about templates and action plans and all that cool stuff. Okay. So
okay.
I just appreciate your patience there, Gus. It'll just take me one more second. Okay. So
sorry, Gus, he doesn't like to be knocked off path. We'll get to that question, I promise.
It's a whole beast, right? So with the texting setup, just to wrap this one up, once you set it up, you can send them from your top producer, you can receive them, and it'll give you a full history of all your text messages. So you're not worried about like your phone dying or switching from iPhone to Android. All your text messages are all in your top producer. If you lose your phone, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what phone you're using because it's all inside your top producer. And that's very important for your livelihood, right? You don't want your livelihood depending on what kind of phone you have. So last settings, and I promise we'll go through templates and action plans, is the UI settings. So we get this feedback on occasion where they say, oh, top producer X is not as colorful as my 8i, right? That's a fair point, because if I go to contacts, it looks like white and gray, right? But there's a reason for that. We have these contact types. So you guys know what contact types are, the groups. You can actually color code them so that it pops up a little bit more out of that white and gray background, right? So if you're a buyer agent mostly, right? And you want to pop out those buyers from your list, right? It would be nice so that it's like, oh, it's green right there. These 5 people are my buyers, right? I'm going to deal with these ones first, right? So that's how we're handling the coloring or the theming of your top producer, is we want to pop out certain important things from the background. So like this colored engaged status, right? So, and then the buyer contact type. So if you want to customize those colors in the settings page, the UI settings, this is where you can customize them. Maybe instead of green for buyers, maybe I want something more red, right? And it just pops out for me a little bit better. I can differentiate from the red out of the gray a little bit better, right? So you can go crazy with all these different colors if you want, and you can do that from the UI settings. There's all these other date range customization that you can do too, but if you ever have questions on those, just let us know. It's kind of a boring topic, so I'm not even going to bother talking about that. But like, if you want the colors, you can use the contact types on the screen. But yeah, so let's go over the marketing tab and going over the templates, right? So let me get just back to my notes here so we can reset our approach here. Go ahead, Glenn.
So I'm gonna because right now we don't have the answer readily available, so I'm going to give this to you, Gus. Top Producer X was originally designed with the intention of being more mobile, online, and not with the ability to print. Now, that was an oversight that we have actually started to rectify. With that, though, we do have to create new templates and new ways to get those letters and everything out for you. That being said, your Top Producer 8i is not going anywhere. That is a program that is going to stick around and be there for you. Now, Gus, I do see you asked if you could have a number to give us a call. If you want to have somebody reach out to you in regards to this, if you could just, let me just see if I can find your account, and I can set up and have one of our team give you a call and go over this with you. We are working on the chat support initially, but for some things it does require an actual phone call, and we do that. And phone support, there's a whisper that we may allow that again or have that again, I just don't know when, but it is something we're working on because we miss talking to our customers too. But in the templates for letters, labels, envelopes, and all that, they're being looked at. We're trying to create ones that are more effective, more friendly, and also using our new editor within Top Producer X for our templates so that we can give you what you're actually looking for and actually wanting. But yeah, I'll definitely, I'll look up your account and I can have someone call you. Not a problem. We can see what we can do for you.
Yeah, just to add to that, Gus, your letters are still there. They're just keep using 8i for that. Okay. Top Producer X, it does a lot of wonderful things, right? If it doesn't have what you need, right, we don't want you to feel like we're putting you to the side. We are fully supportive of using 8i, right? So go into 8i and print those labels, print those letters in there, print those envelopes, whatever you need, and we will help you if you get stuck in 8i. Just the point of this presentation is if you do want to do some of the work that you do from 8i and you find it might be easier to do in Top Producer X, like texting people or sending them emails and all that cool stuff, that's what this is for, is to make sure your X is at least set up that way. That way you can decide which cool toy you can use, right? Sometimes you want to use a hammer out of your toolbox, or sometimes you want to use a screwdriver out of your toolbox. So it's just different tools for whatever you need to do in your toolkit. All right, going through templates and action plans now. Like it says on the screen, unfortunately, it doesn't transfer all your existing 8i templates and action plans. Like what Glenn alluded to, they're built differently, right? So all the 8i templates and action plans, they're not in Top Producer X. However, they're still in your 8i that you're not losing access to. You can still keep using them in your 8is, if you want to keep using them. That's totally fine. But if you do want to take advantage and kind of combine it with all the other follow-up tools in Top Producer X, and you just want it all in one place in Top Producer X, take it as an opportunity, even though you have to recreate those templates again and those action plans again in 8i, take it as an opportunity to review and refresh all of the marketing content in those templates, right? It's almost 2023. Right, we're not even talking about millennials anymore. We're gonna be talking about Gen Z people soon. All the TikTokers that Glenn is, shaking his head at. Right, so make sure you don't get left behind with your relating and building rapport with the new audience. Right, so you want to at least do it as an annual exercise where you're refreshing your marketing content. And obviously we would love it to have it already in there, automatically in there, but unfortunately it's not. So we gotta make lemonade out of lemons, right? So instead of just just kind of like being frustrated about it, right? What we want to do is look at those 8i templates and action plans. Take another look at it, right? I'm sure, like if I looked at my training guides from last year, I'm sure I will critique it where I'm like, why did I say it this way, right? So I will update that content, and this is an opportunity. It kind of forces me to take a look at what I said before and mold it and make it better so that it's more effective moving forward. So with that little, reassurance taken care of, I want to quickly show you how you can do this. So let's go into my Top Producer X, and all your templates and action plans, this is where you're going to find them. So on the left-hand side, you go to marketing and you'll see all these different tabs. So all your templates are in this tab called Template Library. And all your action plans they're not called action plans anymore in Top Producer X, they're called task plans. So instead of action plan, it's called task plan. A little different terminology, but it's the same thing. And all your action plans are in or the ones that you're going to create are in this task plans manager. So template library, task plan manager, make sure you write those down. in case you need to go back to this recording and you need to know, what you need to look for in the recording. So yeah, template library, there's two types of templates you can create in Top Producer X: email and texting template, right? So wouldn't it be nice to create an action plan, at least for your new leads that come in automatically, like through that automated lead response, where you can actually customize the automated text message or the automated email that you're going to send out over the next 5 days to try to convince them to respond, right? So you can create all these templates in here, and there's emails and texting, right? And as you can see, it's missing envelopes, postcards, labels, right? So if you need all that stuff, no problem. Just go to your 8i and keep using what you've been using, right? You don't need to change anything when it comes to those letters and envelopes or whatever else you need to use. But if you are mostly creating templates and action plans that are more like an email campaign, and now you can incorporate texting into that campaign as well, this is where you can create all these templates in the template library of your Top Producer X. And then Task Plans Manager, if you've ever used the action plans in 8i, it works very, very similarly with a lot of cool new features in there. But let me just go through my 8i, and I want to show you how to go through the whole thing. So I'm going to go to marketing in my 8i, and I'm going to go to template library. And under emails is my email library. So I'm just going to go there. And I'm going to try to find one where it didn't get lost from our NetApp incident that happened last year. But it doesn't matter. Let's say I'm just going to quickly go through this one that we had called Follow-Up Coach Quick Response or whatever it is, right? So if I open that up, let's see if this works. Perfect. So if I open it up, this is my template. It's not in my Top Producer X, right? I want to move it over. So there's your subject line, there's your body of your email. Just have that open. And here's what I usually do when this is like a day-to-day that I'm doing this. I would do this. I would have my 8i on one side of my screen, Top Producer X on one side of my screen, and then kind of visually see it move over, right? So I'm going to go to my template library, and I'm going to go add from scratch. And this one is called General Reconnect, right? So that's the name of my template. Just copy pasting it. I'm going to put it into a category. So let's say this is for a past client. You're trying to reconnect with them, right? So put it into that category, and then the email subject line, you just copy pasting it in, right? And then you just select all. So Control A on your keyboard if you don't know how that works, or you can just drag and drop, right? Whatever it is. Or you can right click and hit select all. There's all these different ways to select all, and then just copy it, and then go in here, paste it. See, it's not too hard of a thing to do. And then you'll notice it's got a merge code in here, right? Contact first name in 8i. It didn't bring it over, so just be on the lookout for that. And it's really easy to put it in. So you just go to where it's supposed to go, hit the little template button, and you want their first name. And you just select it from the list of all the merge codes available in Top Producer X, right? In this case, first name, and then bam, right there. I'm done with this one. And then I just hit save template, and that's it. So General Reconnect, I put that in the category called past client, and it's there now, right? So it's really easy to do it. All you have to do is just look at one side, and it's easier if you have it both sides and on your screen, and you just copy paste, and then you just go through your templates that way.
Yeah, that's it is a workaround. Now keep in mind, Top Producer X is created with the latest technology, whereas Top Producer 8i has been around for years. I mean, it's been a workhorse for many years. The problem is the different technology does not communicate properly enough for us to just move them over. we've been looking for a way, hopefully maybe one day we will find a way, but this is a good workaround. Plus, it allows you to trim out ones you don't really use very often. It also allows you to take, like Dan said, he looks at his training material from a year ago, which is sadly out of date now. So he does need to update it. So it gives you a chance to update and make sure you're doing everything right. And I'm sorry, I had to pick on your training material, Dan, just because, why not?
That's okay. I cringe every time I see it in the future too.
So do I.
Yeah. So let's say you're talking to Gen Z people now, and you notice that they don't use the word hi anymore, right? They go hey, right? Like, it's just these are the little tweaks that you might not necessarily get forced to do if it wasn't automatically like in there, right? If it was automatically in your Top Producer X. So I know it's a little bit more work, but use it as an opportunity, right, to refresh your content that might make you actually more money or make you more organized because you're forced to have to recreate them, right? Gus had a comment, top producers missing a huge market sector. Not everybody wants emails or textings, and they like letters. Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why just keep using 8i for your letters, no problem, right? We're not telling you to stop using them. Keep using your 8i for your letters and all that cool stuff.
But keep in mind that, like you said, you do want to do everything in X. We are looking, and there is a feedback button in our Top Producer X. Our developers want to hear what you want. We want to hear what you want, because Dan and I may be members of the company, but we're also here to support our customers. We are the geeks on the other side of the screen. You guys are the ones that are actually using it.
Yeah.
So tell us what makes your life more easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would be easier to have it all in one platform. We agree. So Dan's got the page up here for we call it Pendo, and Pendo is your friendo, as we like to say around here. And he's going to bring up letters, and you can see we have people asking for letters, wanting to have printing letters, labels, and envelopes. The more people that click on that and put their name to it, the higher up in the list of things the development team needs to be able to, or not needs to, but should get I forgot how to talk. Should get taken care of and get into the system for us, and get everything under one umbrella. That way you don't have to jump around. The goal is to eventually have everything in a single sign-on. So please give us your feedback and let's do it. We want it all in one place.
Yeah, no, Gus, if you can do me a favor right now, just hit that button like I'm showing on my screen on the bottom. Hit that button, do a search on the top that says letter. You'll see the same screen as me. And just hit that thumbs up where it says TPX marketing, print letters, labels, and envelopes. That's exactly what you're looking for, right? So I'm going to do it too, right? Because I want it, right? So I'm going to hit that little thumbs up button. And if you open it up, you can even see there's 275 people wanting the same thing, right? So obviously, the more thumbs up it sees, the more attention it's going to get from our product team, right?
Pretty sure one of those thumbs is me as well.
There you go. Right, so yeah, I'm advocating for it too. I want it in Top Producer X, so it's all in one platform. So if you're watching this, go and do that.
Gus, have we covered your questions, or would you still like to have one of our team reach out to you? Because we're more than happy to reach out and discuss your concerns or what you're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I showed you how to copy paste a template from your 8i into your Top Producer X. Love it. Been with Top Producer forever. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. One of us will call you today.
So I showed you how to do a copy paste of your template. I'm going to show you how to do sort of a copy paste of your action plan from 8i to Top Producer X. So I'm going to do that same thing again, where I do like, the left and right thing. So in 8i, as you guys know, your action plans are under calendar, and you go to plans manager. And let's say you do like a newsletter, right? Or actually, no, I'm just going to do this quick new lead plan that I do. So I have an action plan in my 8i, where the first thing I want to do is do a text. The second thing is do a call. And then the third thing is do an email, right? That's every time I get a new lead, I'm always texting them first, and then I'm calling them, and then I'm emailing them, right? Oh, I'm getting a call from my boss, so I'm just gonna, I'm sorry,
I thought
boss.
that was mine.
I'm sorry, boss, I'm gonna have to decline you. Okay.
I actually thought that was on my screen.
Okay, so so this action plan, this is what I have in my 8i, right? I text them first, I call them next, and then I email them next. Every new lead, consistent experience for every new lead that I got. I want to do the same thing in Top Producer X, right? So you can see this is how it's scheduled. So they're all scheduled on the same day to do, right? So all I have to do is go into my Top Producer X, hit that add plan button. And if you want to create from a template, we have a bunch of templates in there too. But for this one, I don't think there's one that applies. So I'm gonna just turn it off. I'm gonna do it from scratch, right? So this is I'm just gonna go with a contact that I already know. It's not coming from the internet. So I'm just gonna select contact, and I can name it the same thing. I can just go like highlight this whole thing here and copy it, right? Dan's new lead plan, right? You can put a description if you want. You don't necessarily have to do that, but at least once you put in the name, you just hit save plan. And now you're at the point where you can create all these tasks, right? All these activities in your 8i, you want to recreate them in Top Producer X. So from here, I can just click on add task. And let's say the first thing is I text them, right? So I can copy that title and put it in. And this is not a call, not a to-do, not a call or not an email. This is a text. I'm going to do a to-do because this is not on like a lead response. This is something that I have to do manually. So hopefully hopefully in another update, we can let you create a text from a contact you already know. But right now, if you need to remind yourself to do a text, you just set up a task called to do. You put in what you need to do for that to do. Let's say it's 0 days from plan start date. Same thing, 0 days from plan start date. And who's supposed to do it? It's the person who applies the action plan, or maybe your assistant is supposed to do it every time, right? So let's say I'm not the one that needs to do this text. My assistant needs to do this text for me. And then I can just hit save task. And then you just go to the next one. So the next thing I want to happen is a cold call, right? So you just copy that, add task, plug it in. And this cold call, I want to do it, not not anyone else. So I'm going to hit save. And then the last one. Last one is the email. So I go there, add a task. This time it's an email. I'll just do that. And it needs to know what email you're using. So here I have something called cold call email template 1. So I can just template preview that. This one, I don't have one already in there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take a quick detour. I'm just going to close that out quickly and then go to my template library, add another email in there. I'm going to call it, what was this called again? I'm just going to quickly close this so I can see what was called. Cold call email template 1. So I'm just going to call it cold email or cold email template 1. Sorry. Template 1. We're almost done the webinar, so I thank you guys for your patience here. Almost done. Okay, so we're gonna go lead. This is a lead conversion type of email, and I'm going to preview it now. See what the subject line says. It says, "Hi, nice to meet you." Perfect. So I'm gonna copy that. I like that. I want to keep it. And then looks like we got here. It looks like there's a merge code in there, so I'm gonna put that in too. Okay. Yeah, hold on. And then I'll just go do that. Whatever it is. Oops. Okay. So really quickly, I created that template that I'm going to use for my action plan. And now we can go back to that action plan, switch back to the task plans manager, find that action plan I was working on. It was called Dan's new lead plan. And then I can add that email task in there again. So if I'm going too fast, I totally understand that. This is why this webinar is recorded. So you can just rewind, pause, and do it at your own pace. So I just kind of want to give you guys a reminder Not to worry if it's a little too fast for you right now. So yeah, so this is the third one. It's an email, and I need to select that email template that I just created, and it was called, what was it called? Lead conversion. Cold, it was cold something, right? Cold, yeah. Make it easier for myself. Why am I looking through it?
I was waiting for you to do the easy way.
Right, so I just put it in, I just type in cold, and it's bam right there. I select that, and if you want to auto send it, you can do that too. If I look at my 8i, I did have it set to auto send, so I'm going to say yeah, auto send it too, because I don't want to change what I did before. So I hit save, and that's it. So I just recreated the same action plan in 8i, and it allowed me to look at the actual email and all the stuff that was part of it. It forced me to review it so that I can refresh it if I wanted to. So that's hopefully that wasn't too bad of an exercise for you guys. Yes, unfortunately, they're not in there from your 8i, but it's, as you saw, it wasn't too bad to recreate them in your Top Producer X. So just going to wrap up. If you have any final questions, go ahead and post it in the chat, and we'd love to answer those. But basically, you did it. You went from your at least some of your work in 8i to X. Your contacts are already there. I showed you how to hit that button to import all your closed transactions. We went through all the different settings, and you can rewind this. You can watch this webinar if you want to go through those settings again at your own pace. And we just went through an exercise of recreating those templates and action plans. You're very welcome, Debbie. If you have any other feedback, like we showed you, hit that feedback button, because we would love to put all of it in one platform. So you guys are the experts, right? Because you guys are using 8i all the time. Let us know. Let us know what features we should put into Top Producer X as well. And just a couple of frequently asked questions. There's no cost for you to use both. You can use both. It's all the same price. You don't have to stop using 8i. And as far as what's not in X, that's in 8i. That's
Kind of
really
covered that.
We kind of covered that already, right? The most popular ones we've already talked about, like the print media, etc. But if you don't know if a certain feature in 8i is not in X or not, just chat with us, and we can give you a straight answer on that specific feature that you're looking to use. Sometimes it's hidden in Top Producer X, and you just need someone to talk to you to let you know where it is. If it's not there, we'll show you, we'll talk about different alternatives, right, to achieve the same thing. And lastly, like I said, if you need help, we are here. Go to our campus website, for example, hit that chat button. If you don't need immediate response, let's say you just want a copy of your invoice for this month, just email support@topproducer.com. We usually get to you within the same or next business day. And then for all the how-to guides and all that stuff, Glenn has been sharing some of those articles with you as I was talking. But if you want to see just everything, all our how-to guides, you can go to topproducer.com/campus. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you very, very much. It was really fun. This was actually our inaugural webinar for this webinar series. We're going to do this every couple of weeks. So if you want to join us again and maybe see other people's questions, and that kind of give you a little bit more of a boost as far as you making that transition from 8i to X, go ahead and just sign up again for another webinar. So if you go on our campus website, for example, let me just quickly show you guys there. Thank you for sticking around for a quick second. If you go on our campus website and go to webinar schedule on the top right corner, there it is, and you can just sign up again. So thank you guys so much again. I'm your host, Dan Salcedo. Joining me is Glenn Doyle. Hope you guys have a happy holidays if we don't see you again until the next year, and have a good one.
Everybody take care. Thanks for joining us today.